China Current is a weekly news talk show from China to the world. We cover viral news about China every week and also give you the newest updates on China's cutting-edge technologies. Let's get started.
Welcome to China Currents, your weekly news report on what's happening in China. I'm Lisa. In this episode, the US could be stripped of the right to host the Olympics for using non-compliance law against Chinese athletes. Hamas and Fatah have signed agreements in Beijing ended Palestine's division. China's President Xi Jinping expressed sympathies to Donald Trump after shooting. IMF raises GDP growth forecast for China. Let's start with a conflict between the US and multiple world anti-doping agencies. On the 16th of July, the United States received a stark warning from the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, that it may not be able to host the Olympics in the future. The warning stemmed from the concerns over the United States' continued use of non-compliance laws against Chinese swimmers. An audit report released that since the beginning of this year, athletes from all over the world were tested 4 times by the International Testing Agency. However, Chinese athletes face testing frequencies twice that of their international counterparts. Data from an independent unit of World Aquatics revealed that prominent Chinese swimmers such as Zhang Yufei, a 2-time Olympic champion in women's butterfly, Qin Haiyang, a world record holder in the men's 200 meters breaststroke, and Li Bingjie, a female freestyle distance swimmer, had over 40 anti-doping testing in 2023. In contrast, American athletes like Li King, Caleb Dressel, and Katie Ledecky were tested around 10 times. So why are Chinese athletes being treated this way? The origin of this issue traced back to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Following Chinese women's triumph with 3 gold medals, American Olympian Paige Madden, who secured a silver medal, expressed feeling of being cheated by China's victory. This accusation was echoed in an article by the New York Times, released on the 21st of April. It alleged that 7 months before the Tokyo Olympics, 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive for a banned drug, and they were secretly cleared and allowed to continue to compete. In response to these accusations, the US invoked the Rodchenkov Act to intensify testing of Chinese swimmers, granting the US extensive extraterritorial jurisdiction over international sports competitions involving only American athletes or those with financial ties to the US. The World Anti-Doping Agency founding president Dick Pound warned that the US aggressive investigation into Chinese athletes might jeopardize its chance to host the 2034 Winter Olympics. In contrast, investigations by multiple major global anti-doping agencies have consistently vindicated the Chinese athletes. In January 2021, both the WADA and World Aquatics confirmed that the positive results of the 23 Chinese swimmers were due to contaminated food, not athlete negligence, and thus were not pursued as anti-doping rule violations. The director of WADA's investigations unit, Gunther Younger, pointed out the data held by us clearly showed that there had been no attempt to hide the positive test as they had been reported in the usual way by the Chinese authorities. A review by Swiss independent prosecutor Eric Cottier looked into WADA's handling of the case has also concluded that the World Anti-Doping Agency was not biased. Although the WADA strictly followed the procedure, British gold medalist James Guy still called for a lifetime ban for the involved Chinese swimmers. Yet in 2019, American 2-time Olympic swimming champion Conor Dwyer, who admitted to using synthetic testosterone, received only a 20-month ban. The US panel explained that it was complicated as Dwyer simply did not grasp that the synthetic performance-enhancing version of testosterone was involved, and he was convinced his use of it had been approved by the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee. In response, Dwyer said that he was pleased that the panel acknowledged that he made an honest but unfortunate mistake. For the ongoing Paris Olympics, China will send 405 athletes, including 42 Olympic champions, to the upcoming Paris Olympic Games. The delegation will comprise 716 members, with 136 male and 269 female athletes set to compete in 30 major events, 42 sub-events, and 236 minor events. Let's hope that all athletes around the world enjoys a fair competition and basic respect on the field. While it might not be a good idea to talk about justice in the United States, China may be one of the best places to do so. At least that's what the Palestinian people think. The Palestinian Hamas and Fatah group met in Beijing from July 20th to 23rd and discussed intra-Palestinian reconciliation, and have signed an agreement on ending division and strengthening Palestinian unity, which named the 2024 Palestinian Reconciliation Agreement. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said the core outcome is that the Palestine Liberation Organization is the sole legitimate representative of all Palestinian people. Furthermore, the agreement is dedicated to the great reconciliation and unity of all 14 Palestine factions, and has been reached on post-Gaza war governance. Abdel Fattah, a Fatah senior leader, said China hosts a meeting that includes all Palestinian groups as part of the exerted effort to extend the internal division. We in the Fatah movement are open to solve and dismantle all obstacles in the way of reconciliation under the difficult condition the Palestinian cause is going through, along with the genocidal war on Gaza. On the 17th, China's permanent representative to the United Nations, Fu Chong, stated that the implementation of the two-state solution is the only feasible solution to the Middle East issue. Fu Chong remarked that the fundamental reason for the recurrent turmoil in the Palestinian-Israeli situation over the past decades is the failure to implement the two-state solution, resulting in the disregard of the Palestinian people's national right to establish an independent state. He emphasized that Gaza belongs to Palestine and Palestinian people, and discussion on post-war governance of Gaza must be based on achieving a political solution rather than crisis management. Such discussion must respect the will of the Palestinian people and consider the concerns of regional countries. China firmly supports Palestine in achieving independence and self-governance and advocates for convening a larger-scale, more authoritative and more effective international peace conference to formulate a specific plan for implementing the two-state solution. Fu Chong further stated that the immediate achievement of a lasting ceasefire is a significant precondition for saving innocent lives. When the United States promoted the adoption of the Resolution 2375 by the Security Council, it repeatedly claimed that Israel had accepted the ceasefire agreement. However, more than a month has passed and the Israeli military operations in Gaza have expanded, with recent attacks on refugee camps such as Al-Mawasi and Nuseirat causing significant casualties. Currently, what Gaza needs is the hope for peace. Military actions will only result in more innocent civilian casualties and will not create favorable conditions for the release of the detained individuals. China urges Israel to immediately cease all military actions in Gaza and stop the indiscriminate strikes on the people in Gaza. Countries with significant influence must genuinely and responsibly strive to encourage the parties. Now, still on the subject of gunfire, on the 14th of July, after the former US President Donald Trump was injured in an assassination attempt, Chinese President Xi Jinping expressed sympathy to him. However, on Chinese social media, the reactions are mixed with shock, concern, and creative humor. Just after the shooting, some Chinese netizens, imitating the tone of the state news agencies, commented that the meeting between Donald Trump and Shinzo Abe was postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. Shinzo Abe, the former Japanese prime minister, was fatally shot in 2022. Those who at least outwardly support Biden suggested that there's only one way to make him as popular as Trump, which is to get both of his ears shot. 3 hours later, the t-shirts and keychains with Trump's iconic photo went viral on the Chinese social media and e-commerce platform, which received over 2,000 orders within hours. Some netizens have taken a professional approach analyzing the bullet's trajectories to determine if the assassination was staged or real. There were also comparisons to past assassinations of notable figures like Kennedy, eagerly anticipating how this drama would unfold in the next 4 months. As Chinese netizens continues to make memes about Trump, Trump also expressed his concerns about China, especially the Taiwan issue, in an interview with Bloomberg on the 17th of July. Trump suggested that Taiwan Island should pay the US for its defense. He complained that the US was no different than an insurance company and that Taiwan Island doesn't give us anything, but did take about 100% of the American chip business. Following Trump's remarks, share in Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Code (TSMC) fell by as much as 3.3% on Wednesday. Taiwan Island politician responded to Trump's remark by stating that the island is increasing its capability to defend itself and that the island and the US have good relations despite the lack of formal ties. Although TSMC's stock has received a blow from across the ocean, China's economy is clearly underestimated in the eyes of the IMF. On the 16th of July, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, raised China's GDP growth forecast for 2024 to 5%. This update, featured in the latest World Economic Outlook, marks an upward revision of 0.4 percentage points compared to the April report, highlighting a steady rebound in the Chinese domestic consumption and a surge in exports. This move signals growing global confidence in the world's second-largest economy. The revised projection aligned with the IMF's earlier forecast in May and China's own growth target of around 5% for 2024. The World Economic Outlook notes, in China, resurgent domestic consumption propelled the positive upside in the first quarter, aided by what appeared to be a temporary surge in export, reconnecting with last year's rise in global demand. Interestingly, while the IMF has raised China's growth forecast, it has kept the global growth projection unchanged at 3.2%. The global economy remains in a sticky spot, according to the IMF, which has painted a gloomier outlook for the major economies, including the United States. The report highlights that after a sustained period of strong outperformance, a sharper than expected slowdown in growth reflected moderating consumption and a negative contribution from net trade. On 18th of July, the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China concluded its 4-day third plenary session, also known as the third plenum, and highlighted that we must remain firmly committed to accomplishing the goal for this year's economic and social development. According to the government work report released in March, it includes realizing GDP growth of about 5%, creating more than 12 million new urban jobs, and growth in personal incomes in step with economic growth. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts or comments about our show, please reach us at the email address below. We look forward to hearing from you and see you next time.